Welcome to CPG Vibes, number 186. I'm still getting over that whole rock and roll intro. I like that. That's just awesome. What's up, Gavin? How you doing?
Man, I'm a little under the weather today, but I'm excited about this conversation, branding, storytelling, and just a different vibe that we've had on the show recently. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Wade, how are you?
I'm good. The conversation we were having off stage or off before the show started is anything like this is going to be one for the ages. So it's going to be really good. Yeah. So real quick, before we bring in our esteemed guests, I have somewhere here. We've got one ongoing sponsor, and that's Creative Kaiju. If you run a CPG brand and need design help, Creative Kaiju might be exactly what you're looking for. It's like having your own design team, but without the cost of hiring in-house for one flat monthly fee. You can request as many designs as you need, packaging design, pitch decks, social posts, whatever. No contracts, no hidden fees, just fast, reliable design made for growing CPG brands. And if you use the code CPG Vibes in the box on the website, you'll get 10% off. And the website link is www.creativekaiju.com/CPG Vibes. That's Creative Kaiju, KAIJU.com/CPG Vibes. I'll put that link in the chat when I can figure out where I'm at. And just real quick, if you haven't, we would really appreciate if you'd go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and give us 5 stars, leave a comment, like, thumbs up, whatever it is on whatever platform you're looking at. I think that's everything, Gavin. What did I miss?
No, I think we're good, man. I'll do a quick intro really quick with Peter and Jeff. So they run and operate Brandartica, which builds brands that want more than just the pretty. They craft storytelling, strategy, and design that drive results in CPG, food, beverage, and lifestyle. Peter's got an extensive background in marketing with 15 years at Disney, where he mastered emotional storytelling. And Jeff, who brings 25 plus years of technical marketing and UX expertise. So, with that, let's bring them on, Wade.
Let's do it. All right, let's see. I don't have any fancy music. We're just going to do it. We're just cutting straight to the chase. Fellas, welcome to the show.
Oh, hey.
And, the one thing we missed, I put the link up for Brandartica, the website there, brandartica.agency.
Yeah.
But they also are hosting the weekly show. Let's start with that, guys. Tell us who wants to talk about the weekly show you've been doing for, I don't know how long now.
Well, it's called Where the Dogs of Society Howl. It's a slight nod to Sir Elton John.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, and why? I don't know. But I was like, shit, nobody named anything this. I'm going to name something this. And yeah, Jeff and I do that as a weekly LinkedIn Live. It's all about the creative process, leadership, you name it, we kind of hit on it. Usually that show tends to, go off the rails in a great way. Right, Jeff?
Yes, it often does.
Rarely does.
It's the same time every week?
Same time every week. Thursdays, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and that tagline would be "Don't F it up." So,
and actually, our yesterday's show was our 25th episode.
Oh, look at that! Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
before that, guys, we were doing a podcast, and frankly, just creating a podcast as such traditionally was so much work and editing and stuff. We were like, let's just do it live. Let's leave all the bullshit in it. Let's just let it happen and then just put it out there. Easy.
Yeah, I think that's honestly that's the best way to learn too. Like you're just riffing and having good conversation. And if you can get some solid guests on, I think that's what Wade and I have started to do. Is we've just started to cut up some of the episodes where there's good content that you can repurpose or repost, and hopefully it's beneficial to somebody.
Yeah, right on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
where are we starting at? Are we talking about beets and mayonnaise, Gavin? Or are we going right into
we can go down that road maybe towards the end of the conversation when people tune out. But
Right.
Jeff and Peter, maybe just give a quick background on your guys' business that you guys actually run, and then we can kind of take it from there.
Sure. Well, Brandartica is a full-service agency. We specialize in storytelling, brand identity, and website development. But with that, I think our our most fierce weapon is just the balance of creativity and strategy. So between my background and Jeff's background, we're pretty well versed in a lot of this stuff. And for us, what's important is that we're capable of doing it all.
Mm.
Have a small team, but when people work with us, they're working directly with Jeff and I. It's not a handoff to here, go talk to this junior designer or somebody else that you've never met. Once we close a deal with you or we agree to a partnership, we stay on. We're with you the whole time. It's important.
Mm.
That's great. And then I would guess like the cadence of meetings after that, like, is it weekly? Is it a good sit down conversation? How long do you talk to them and start building out that strategy?
Jeff, do you think?
Yeah. I think it depends on what how we start with the relationship, right? Sometimes people come to us for a specific project,
Mm.
and other times they're looking for us on a really high level strategy type of thing. And again, so we have a very mixed bag as far as the different types of clients that we work with. Some of them, somebody needs a website, so we build the website. But in that process, we end up saying, oh, well, there may be some refinement needed in your brand story or your brand identity.
Mm. Mm.
But then we have people who approach us and they're looking for a long-term monthly relationship where we're on strategy calls like every 2 weeks with them.
Yeah. But regardless, either way, it always starts off with sort of a cocktail and an appetizer to see if we're really going to jive together. It's not just, I mean, and I think that's important for many potential clients. They want to know if we're, completely deranged, or maybe we know what we're talking about. And honestly, that's a two-way street. We want to know if you're a psychopath or if you've got some, at least 1 foot in reality where you understand what a budget is and why you need it, and are willing to, invest, but also invest your trust in your partners. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's a red flag when I realize someone has little to no trust in our opinion or our experience. And that's okay. It just doesn't mean that we're probably going to be bumping heads a lot more than bumping fists over the successes.
Yeah, and I would imagine if you're bumping heads, that's not going to be good. There's going to
Not
be
good for
tension in the
anyone.
Yeah.
That's one of the
I mean,
best when you pay a service provider for a service, but you're questioning their expertise. That's one of my favorites, right?
Yeah. I think, it's like people should get tattoos that just say, what if? So the amount of what ifs. What if it was more chartreuse? What if it was more vanilla with a smile and a hint of I don't know what the fuck any of that means.
Right.
Left or right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Wade and I talked about this on the broker episode we had with Sean Berg. And when you are finding a broker, you need to date around a little bit. You need to have some phone calls and make sure that synergy is going to be there, because the last thing you want to do, especially as a service provider, is get paid but bunt heads. Or that's not going to be fun. You're not going to be excited to work with that founder or CEO or design director.
That's right.
So yeah, there's got to be synergy there, and I think that's something that in our industry, whether it's a broker, a category manager, any of those things where you have an ongoing relationship with someone you work with outside of your company, you need to be on good terms and see eye to eye with the vision. So
yeah, I think Sean. Yeah, I watched that show. Actually, Sean's going to be a guest of ours on our show this coming Thursday. But the takeaway for me, what he was saying is, if things don't seem to be working out right, he's not there to be a vendor, right? He's like, he wants this relationship to work, and so he doesn't like the idea that you're paying him to do nothing, right? Like, and we're the same way. We're looking to build a relationship with our clients. We're not just a vendor that like pumps out websites or copy for somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
If you think of your partnership as like if you're hiring a lawyer, to get you out of a parking ticket. Either going to get you out or you're going to end up in the chair. You gotta be very careful about who you got. I kid you not. I've said it about like when we hired a realtor for, looking for a house. I was like, would I trust this person to get me out of a murder case, or am I just going to end up with life in prison? And the answer was like, in one case was like, oh my God, I would get the chair immediately with this person as my lawyer. They certainly are not going to find me the house I'm looking for.
Right.
So, I mean, everyone's got their own take, everyone's got their own vibe and their own style, but you got to make sure it fits with your own. In fact, we just hired some people to do an addition on our house. And the most important thing they said to me was, we really need to like you and you really need to like us, because for the next 6 months, we're essentially going to be living with you. And everybody else, when I thought back to that and I said, that guy was a dick. That guy was a dick. That dude was just straight up racist. I don't know what to do. I'm not hiring any of you, but these people said the thing that I needed to hear, and it made the most sense. So I apply that the same to this kind of a partnership.
I think I just learned something that how I need to address people going forward.
If I were in serious trouble, would I trust them to get me out?
That's your filter system.
So you fellas work across multiple channels, right? I mean, in branding and storytelling, we're going to get into that, obviously, and CPG, right? And as far as I'm curious, is at what point is a CPG brand specifically ready to work with you? Do they have to do X amount of volume? Is it, I've got an idea that I want to bring to life? Is it an established brand that needs a refresh? What is there a right time? If so, what is it?
I would say that, first of all, if it's a emerging brand or a new product, are you ready? Is there an audience in the market for you? First of all, that's first. Next, I would say, I'm not as concerned with how well put together your branding is. It's more or less, Jeff, and I think we've talked about this, your operational standards. Are you ready to, let's say we do something that really pops? Are you ready to operationally handle that kind of an increase? It's not that we wouldn't work with someone in that situation, but we would really take precautions to go let's be sure you're ready to handle when the floodgate opens, you're ready to handle it. So we usually look for, like we said, people that we jive well with. And in CPG, it's such a great opportunity because there are so many avenues and so many takes you can have for similar products, that I think that having a budget makes sense. I love when we go through 6 conversations before someone says, well, we don't actually have a budget. And I go, oh my God, how did we get here?
Yes.
But like that said, right. We try to work with people where they're at and say, if we can start off with an icebreaker, an appetizer, and a cocktail, and we're all getting along and things go well, you're going to grow and we're going to grow with you. And that's what we hope. There's no guarantee you'll stay with us, but you would hope that one would. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that too is what we're looking for is realistic expectations, right? So in other words, if you're at the beginning stages here and we're trying to move the needle for you, right, in terms of your reach, are you set up operationally to handle that increased business, right? What are the tools that you're going to need to be able to, get into distribution or get into retail? All those different things we consider, right? And the budget is one of those things, but ultimately what we want to have is some realistic point of view that it's not just money you're paying us as your budget. The budget is so that you can advertise, so that you can partner, so that you can get into retail and get it on a decent place on the shelf, right? So you have to have money for that. You have to have, and maybe you're not ready and you need some investment. Sure. We can help you at least get an investor package together that really will wow them.
Yeah.
I like where this conversation is going. You guys both alluded to operational, basically inventory, right? If you guys partner with us and we're going to do a good job, you guys have a high level of confidence you're going to do a good job. there's going to be an increase of sales, and you need to be able to support that.
That's right.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
so what does that honestly look like? Like, obviously, someone who's emerging that's not in retail, I would obviously just interpret this conversation as they're not going to be ready to talk to you yet. But let's say there are 3,000 doors, you
Yeah.
know, like they're starting to find their path. That's something you guys can have a conversation with. Or is
That's
it like a revenue dollar that is like a sweet spot?
Jeff. We talk a lot about
we
like
talk about it.
we do. We talk about, and it doesn't apply every single time. We talk about, certain percentage of your, your annual revenue is what you should expect to be spending on marketing. That should include what you're spending on your creative team to do it. Yeah, you can hire a great creative team for, $100,000 and have nothing left over to actually publish an ad.
Right.
That does not help you. So there's that. Right. So I don't know if Jeff, do we have a specific number on that? Because I feel like it just depends.
I think a sweet spot, if we were gonna, what we originally looked at, like what is our, target, like ideal client. A sweet spot would be like they're already doing maybe like 4 or 5 million a year, up to, let's say, around 50.
Got it.
Right. They're established. They're not newbies. They've been around for a few years. They have employees. They have operational stuff really in order. Maybe they already have a foothold locally or regionally, but they're looking now to like grow beyond that. And I think that's where we can come in. They usually have a realistic budget. Coca-Cola could spend 2% of their budget. It would still be more than anyone else. But the point is like, if you're an emerging brand, you're trying to get into a new region, you should have the expectations that it's more like 7 to 10%, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna move the needle if you're still at 2%.
Yeah. I think that we are always happy to talk to emerging brands wherever they are. I try to keep an open hours available on Fridays for people that just want to either, chat about, I don't care what, doesn't matter. I'm happy to talk. But like for people that go, look, I've got this brand idea, or I'm stuck in this spot where I don't know how to grow to the next level. And to me, I go, this is just an opportunity for me to share a little bit of what we're thinking here and how we see it and what we've done in the past. And if it helps you, cool. And maybe you'll come back, when you're ready.
Yeah, that's like planting a seed, right? Like
That's all.
you wanna have as many conversations as you can, because like, hey, they might be doing $1 million today, but next year they might be doing 5,
Right.
and they're
And
gonna
I
be
need all the
ready.
good karma I can get.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, so I like where this is going again. So we've kind of identified a target, or somewhat of a target. It's a moving target, obviously, for you guys. I'm sure you guys are going to have a conversation with somebody who might be not meeting those thresholds, but there's a pathway there.
Mhm.
So let's say you guys sign up with them. Like, what's the next step? You guys have a conversation with them. You guys are vibing. Things are good. What happens next?
Generally, I think the next conversation is really going to be about, budget and money. And, there's no sense in putting a proposal together if you don't have a budget to pay for anything. And what we've been finding lately is that, and I don't want to make it's not all about the money. Sometimes it's about just like, I love this person. I love what they do. And I want to help. We want to help them. We've done that recently with a few smaller clients that we go, look, this is just good work for us. It's good to keep the muscle memory built. Right. And then, it doesn't, sorry, people are coming in. My daughters are coming in from school. Those people are back.
The people.
But I was going to say, there's just that part where you can kind of work with people where they're at. And, that to me is matters the most.
Gotcha.
Jeff,
The only thing, I think we look at what they need in the short term, right? But I think we're already starting to have that conversation about what does this really look like strategy wise, right? What's the plan going to look like? What are the, we talk about like having these pillars of different, lanes that you would create content around. so that you're consistent with your brand messaging or your social media or your website. Those three things. How do we develop those three things that we always stand by when we're doing our marketing to keep things consistent? I think we usually get into that strategy discussion after what Peter was saying, in terms of like the appetizer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, we have some really good
Yeah,
questions.
I was going to say I've got Brianna's up on the screen, and we'll bring
Yeah.
up some of these after this. We got several coming. So Brianna asked, if you had to pick one, what's the number one mistake emerging brands make?
I was going to say playing it safe, but if I can only pick one, gun to my head, I would say playing it safe.
Jeff, you agree?
Yeah, well, it's playing it safe, but I find here's the thing. I find that what happens a lot of times with emerging brands, I think, is they build this beautiful website for their product to sell direct, but they're not thinking already about how this product is going to live on the shelf next to all these other competitors. And because of that, when they get to the shelf, they could literally be drowned in the sea of all of the sameness.
But that's also playing it safe.
That's a similar thing. Yeah,
we're going to look like everybody else looks because that's the way it's done.
Right.
But I do agree with you 100%, Jeff. Think about your product. Not when we show you a package design on the laptop or on a share or just in person, right? We try to present it to you with context. So if you were to be in this supermarket or you were going to be in this store, what do you look like next to everybody else? Right. And does it still resonate? Do you still love it? Or even for people that go like, I hate it. Well, I go, hold on now, take a look at it in context for a minute. Do you still hate it? Can you identify it immediately? That's the biggest question. Can you identify it immediately? Yeah, I can, because I fucking hate it.
I'll give you an example. I go grocery shopping on Fridays.
He does.
I buy almond milk from, I think it's Almond Breeze. It's in the carton. Okay.
He loves Almond Breeze.
There's a million other brands. There's one brand, though, and I didn't catch the name, that has black cartons. And I looked at it enough that I'm intrigued now to find out what it is, because I was kind of in a rush. But I happened to notice it, and I'm thinking, wow, there's a black carton here in the sea of white.
Noticeable, but you didn't remember the name.
No, I know, but I guess it got my attention.
I mean, it's in the milk category. There's not a lot of black packages in milk.
No. That's a nonsense. Yeah, I hope
they call it. But milk is white.
I astro projected to the actual decision making with the table when they said, "Let's do black cartons." It was interesting to me, right?
Before we hop into this next question. Peter, you guys both said play it safe. Quick define what playing it safe means.
I was saying this yesterday to somebody. If it makes sense, hopefully. Otherwise, I left that person like what? I would say, if you know that the most ripened, sweetest piece of fruit is at the end of a very narrow branch high up that tree, playing it safe is just kind of going around the ground and picking up the rotten fruit or picking the lower fruit that's not ripe yet, because you just don't want to invest the time or take the chance or risk to go get that delicious piece of fruit. That's playing it safe. I mean, and that also plays into playing it safe in terms of design, playing it safe in terms of language or messaging, but also playing it safe in terms of platforms you use to reach your audience. Some people make the mistake of trying to use all the platforms. And honestly, when it was Twitter, I was already like, don't bother with Twitter. It's a train wreck. If you want to get in an argument with someone, go there. But even now, today, I go, it's just, for me, I just don't think that there's an advantage to brands really being there, especially emerging brands. There's too much other stuff going on. So I think you got to look at all those elements and go, if I show you something or describe a scenario to you about your brand that is really relevant and resonating with your audience, but you're uncomfortable about it, and we decide to act on that because you're uncomfortable as the founder, that's playing it safe.
Got it. Wade, I think this obviously goes hand in hand with this next question, which is
Right.
how do you
Wade,
deal with
Our
founder
friend
ego?
Hugh.
Do you see the way I did that? I just dovetailed those
I
together.
love that.
I like it.
Segue.
I like it. It's like you've done this before.
It's like I'm just in another zone. Yeah, Jeff, you want to address?
Yeah.
Hugh's
So
question?
yeah, the founder ego thing. Well, I believe that a founder's superpower is delegation. You look at all of the great founders or whatever, they all at some point in time realized they needed to delegate work. Otherwise, I don't see how you can grow, right? And I think it's just part of that leadership process that you have to be able to delegate responsibilities to other people to handle. Otherwise, you're going to hit that ceiling, and you're not going to be able to go past it.
Nice. Well, we've got one more question here from Melissa. She said, I think this is going back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. Says sometimes a brand has a sales team bringing in a massive piece of business and the marketing budget is not adjusted. Do you agree?
Jeff, thoughts, dreams?
No, I mean,
he noted this. He's witnessed
yes.
this. I can see it in his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time, right? They're not feeding the machine. And I'm glad that she brought up sales too, because that's one thing that I was able to experience myself when I was in consumer electronics industry. I worked for several brands in that industry, in the audio industry. And one thing that we always prided ourselves is that the marketing and sales departments were like this. Like, we were friends. Like, we actually worked together. We wanted to know what the salespeople needed to do their job the very best that they could. And I think it's a missed opportunity when there's, and this happens a lot, and I'm sure you've heard stories where the marketing department has this certain idea, but they don't get buy-in from the salespeople, and so you can't effectively execute on those ideas. There's no alignment, right? And so marketing and sales often are combined together, but a lot of times within those businesses, they're not working with each other.
That's great stuff. That's great stuff. And, so I want to ask a question and to see what your thoughts are on this. So obviously, in my opinion, they're kind of married, right? They should be to some extent.
They should be. Yes.
They should be. Who should drive the bus? Does marketing drive sales, or does sales drive marketing?
That's great.
Oh,
Or does someone else drive? And they're both passengers.
Yeah. I think the audience drives the bus. I think the consumer base drives the bus. I'm not saying you played exactly, but I think that in my experience on a marketing side, if you're not like in tune with the sales team and their needs, they can't possibly sell what you're spinning up, and vice versa. If they don't understand, like I've tried to present people with a brand design that somebody like one of our team members have done, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it. And I go, look, I don't want to talk about this presentation of this logo design until I understand everything I need to know about it. Right. So I think you have to you can only have one person driving the bus, I suppose, but they have to be in total communication and lockstep to do it right. I think that I know in Disney, I was like the bane of every salesperson's existence because I wanted what was the most creative and out there idea to be presented. The ones that I didn't have great relationships with, they didn't want to present that stuff because frankly, I just don't know if they knew what to do with it. But the people that I had taken the time to really get to know and understand the seat they sat in, understand that they have certain numbers to reach, and it's a hard job to have doors slammed in your face and hear no all the time. It's not fair for me to go in and say, hey, I've got this crazy idea. and send you off to battle with it. If we can do it together and we can go together and have this understanding of it, then that person's going to be able to go into that meeting with the absolute most confident pitch they can.
Yeah.
So
And I would only add to that too, is that, when I look at the partnership with sales, and just based on my experience, they're trying to get retailers to take in the product, right? So it's focused on that. I used to have these conversations with the sales guys. They would say, we need this piece of literature. I said, do you want the piece of literature to be for your customers or for the actual end users? And there would be a blank stare. And then I would say, well, here's the thing. I want to give you the tool that's going to make your customer, which is the retailer or the distributor or whatever, want to get this product in. But I also want to make one to get people in the door and looking for it, right? So those are two different kinds of marketing. One of them is obviously B2B, the other one's B2C. But the B2C and the B2B have to tell the same story.
they have to come from the same mother.
Right.
They may speak in different tones and paces and cadences, but they have to come from the same mother. And it's okay for them to be different. The worst thing in the world you could do, and I've done this, I've gone into a store and asked the floor manager, what's the brand all about? And he gives me some wacky answer. And then I ask the girl at the checkout counter, what's the brand? What's this brand all about? She gives me some other answer. The guy at the bag boy gives me another answer. And I'm like, this brand doesn't know where it is. This company has not informed its employees of who they are, what they're doing. And that's not the employee's fault. That's just somebody at another level's fault, where they have not cemented in that foundation of who we are, why we exist, and the benefit, who we serve.
Right.
The best example I saw of cohesiveness in this regard was back in my days in Ohio. We had a VP over all of what we call, I think generally speaking was it sales and marketing, but again, these are retail stores. And then underneath him, he had he was a VP, and underneath him he had a director of procurement, so purchasing, marketing, and merchandising. Merchandising was execution and vision in store. Marketing was print ads, socials, the branding, and then procurement was, essentially almost like sales, right? They're the ones responsible for purchasing the product. And they would lock themselves in a room for an entire day, once per quarter, to come up with the vision and direction for the next quarter. And so when they left that room, and I was on the procurement side, when you walked out of that room, you battled, right? I mean, you're each fighting, and then you've got a judge there that's judge, jury, and execution that's going with the vision. But then when they walked out of that room, the plan for the next quarter was there, and it worked. And so I think that kind of goes in line with the comments you had up there from Kenny, Gavin.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that, the vision piece. Kenny's obviously spitting some knowledge in there, and I appreciate Connor's comments too. The age-old debate of marketing and sales, and for most of my young career, marketing and sales butt heads, and sometimes for better or worse, right? On the retail side, I think there should be some butting of heads, because I do think when there is confrontation or good conversation on the confrontation side, you're going to grow from that, right? You're going to get a perspective from sales. You're going to get several perspectives from marketing, or several from both sides, and you're going to find some middle ground, or you at least hear each other out, and it should help you pole vault to the next level.
Absolutely.
I will say, having a vision though sets the tone for everybody. So Wade, your example of having that one person locking everybody in a room, setting the vision, if you can align on that and stay to that, that's gonna get you everybody rowing in the right direction.
Right.
I do want to bring this back to the opposite of that, where it's like, hey, you set a vision, and then that vision changes 3 weeks from now, or 2 months from now.
Yes.
Or they see a little bit of success with this marketing strategy that Peter and Jeff created, but now they want to pivot because they think they can take it somewhere else.
We're gonna do it in house.
No, Peter, you actually have a story of something we talk about alignment, right? So we had we had this a client that cleaned chandeliers, and they cleaned not just any chandelier. They cleaned very high end chandeliers, like in Robert Kraft's home, or something like that.
Well, for those of you not from New England,
yes,
familiar with the New England Patriots dynasty, which is actually coming back. Thanks. You're very welcome.
yeah.
We'll see you all on
We'll
Sunday.
see you.
They're not the Browns.
That's right. But
Sorry.
even like the Capitol buildings, or White House, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
But so they came to us because they wanted a rebrand, and we really rebranded them to that high level, the crap out of them, to the place where it was like this white glove sort of experience, right? It's a very high level, high net worth type of customer that would see this and be impressed by it. But the rest of the team in their crew didn't want to buy into it. And so there's not an alignment there. They're not projecting what we've created in terms of their brand.
Right.
And so that doesn't do anybody any good, really. We gave them what they asked for, but it can't be executed if the whole team isn't on board with it.
It's interesting. We didn't just give them what they asked for. We gave them what they described to us as to who they were and who they wanted to be when they grew up. And we were like, okay, we can do this. Let's take that weird dull blue of yours and that strange logo thing you've got that looks like a drop of water, but it's actually a crystal chandelier. It's not translating anywhere. Let's change it. Let's fix it up. And, given the fact that they were doing the White House chandeliers and the Supreme Court and huge casinos and museums and, billionaires' homes, we were like, that's awesome. So what's important? They told us what's important to your customers, not important to you, your customers. And they were like privacy, security, safety, quality, blah. All those things. Fucking great. Their design went from this weird blue and white awkward clip art thing to a really high end, as Jeff said, a white glove service that was a very dark website with a very elegant geometric logo design, really screamed luxury. And what started happening was, and this covered a lot of different things, as Jeff said, the team when they got their vans wrapped, they went out and bought blue vans instead of black vans. I don't know why. And then they put like a huge black sticker on it. And I was like, it looks like a bruise. And who chose that color for the logo? That's not in the brand guide. What the hell? Right. Thought it might look good. I said, and then, there was that whole part where I said, we made these beautiful sweatshirts and polo shirts. I was kind of going, you guys should show up in like tuxedos with like briefcases, men in black, come in, do the job, you're in, you're out. It's sweet. They were going out. They reeked of cigarettes. They had sliced the arms off all the sweatshirts, beards. I was like, you spent all this money to come across as something that you're actually not.
Right.
And that's something that I think that's one of those places. I forget what the question was, but it's just a great instance of going, they didn't really know who they were. But from a leadership point of view, I always thought, and this is where it was coming from, was that you own this company. Well, the guys don't want to wear those things. They're employees.
It's a uniform.
It's a uniform.
Yeah. Alignment.
It goes back to the vision and alignment, and they weren't aligned. They didn't share the same vision that you guys did. It seems like you guys built damn near perfect book for them of how to go to business. All those, like, my mind was just thinking like, hey, this is going to be a very clean cut crew. Everybody's going to be very tidy. Everything's going to be exquisite, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's going to be perfect.
Right.
And then it seems like someone was really infatuated with that blue.
Yeah, and there was a green that came into play, and I showed up to film a video for them for something, and the machine, this machine they created, it's like a black box. I was like, it's dirty. You want us to film this dirty machine filled with dirty water. And who put a green sticker on it? We never said green logos were a part of green's not part of this gold, black, silver, white look. Where's the green? We just thought it would look good. My son-in-law said it looked good. Okay.
Right. Yeah. You gotta own. If brands are listening, you don't have brand guidelines. You have to have brand guidelines.
Yeah.
For that stuff to work.
That's number one from it.
Yeah. You can't pivot from it. Someone's CEO's wife, VP sales wife, whatever, they can't have input. It is what it is.
Right.
And that's rule number 5 I put up on the screen from Stephen Black, who was on our show a couple weeks ago. If you missed that,
that's
you
right.
have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Protect the brand. And it applies in a number of ways. And in this case, you essentially gave a facelift, created a new brand, and their job, the leader's job, was to protect the brand. And they did anything but, right?
Yeah. You know what's effective, and I've learned this the hard way, is that, you talk to the leadership and you get their story, and you get their hopes, wants, dreams, whatever. But then you send them out of the room and you bring in the team. And the team won't talk in front of, often they won't talk in front of so you send them out and you take the team and you go, guys, this is what we're proposing. This is what we're doing. Does anybody kind of nervous or anxious or hate this concept or idea? Just let's hear it, or what's the real story here? How does this really, how do you guys really do with this? Are sales down? Are you cool with that, or you want better? And then once you get that sort of both sides of the coin, there's a place in the middle where you can start to work you can work the audiences, the two different audiences, by, kind of bringing them together, sometimes without them even really knowing it, and just getting them to sort of see the vision, be the vision, and accept it. And then you can proceed with the work. But once you've proceeded with the work, before getting, you may get the leaders, the founders buy-in, but if the team hates it, those people are going to be whispering in that person's ear for months to come. And that's going to turn into a very hard uphill slog for anything else you try to do.
Yeah. And that's really goes back to like what you guys first started with, which is you guys need to have the trust of whoever you're working with to make sure that, again, that trust leads to alignment going forward. And I don't see the comment on our side, Wade, but I see it on LinkedIn. And Rich asked, is that a lack of trust or just obliviousness? God damn it. That's a legit question for you guys.
It is a legit question.
Yeah, it's not feed. For some reason, it didn't feed over
English,
here.
Yes, I see it. It's from Rich.
Yeah, but I was still trying to read the word oblivious.
Yes, I see it now.
Thank you.
No, it's okay, because Rich, I type worse than that.
Right.
Maybe you spelled this right.
I think it's it can be a little bit of both, right? So I think you can't just start out the gate with trust. It has to be built.
It has to be earned.
Right.
Yep.
Earned.
It has to be earned. But there are the other choice, the obliviousness, is it does show up.
I can tell you, Jeff, this is what obliviousness looks like in its most frequent form, is someone on the inside of the company going, well, hey, I've got a Canva account. I do what you do. I'm just as good. Don't you think you're better than me? I know how to do this. What's a layer? That's obliviousness. That's obliviousness. That's like, and I'm not saying you can't learn it. I'm not saying maybe you don't know it. But if you are going, well, I put the logo down there way over to the edge and it's cut off. I don't know why. Well, it's because the specs of the thing you're making are completely wrong. And that's just obliviousness. Just because you know how to move colors around and drag and drop things, that's not the same thing as designing. And I'm not trying to take a snooty, highfalutin take on it, because I suck at it. I'm good at the big picture, right? I just go, obliviousness comes in that form of thinking that, oh, well, we do what you do. Well, why are you paying us to do it?
Right.
And that's the one thing that I found when you find a client who refuses. Jeff and I have a client that's awesome. They're one of our favorites, and they're a big company, and they pay us for the most part, for our insight, strategy, and creativity. Do they listen to it? Rarely. But they're happy. They love it. They actually are like, this is what we wanted from you. And I'm like, well, why don't you do it? Oh, well, for a variety of reasons we can't. But that's okay. I go, we're doing the job you brought us in for. And that is okay. So on the other side of that coin, you go, you bring someone in and you earn their trust and they earn your trust back and forth 2 ways. You should be able to take what they're telling you and saying, look, that little element right there is, we can move it, we can take it out. If it doesn't add to the design, then take it out. And, they trust you. They go, oh, okay. But I really like that flourish. I know, but what does it add to the design? I don't know. Then take it out. If you can't tell me what it adds, then it doesn't belong here. And that's trust.
Yeah.
I feel like obliviousness should be a name of a podcast.
Yes, that's great.
Or a band.
Yeah, that too. There probably is a band named that. We've got a question from Hank Watt with Nature's Wildberry. What do you say when a brand wants to go to war with another brand or industry they're trying to disrupt?
Oh, that's a...
I mean, I love a good, knife fight in the back room between brands. I think, do you want to go to war? Like, is that really a thing you want to do? I would look at it more like, let's find their weak spots. Perhaps there's a space for them where they suck at customer service. They're not answering any of their Google reviews. They're not answering. You become the company that does. You take advantage of those spaces that they either are obliviousness to, or you take advantage of the things where maybe they're dropping the ball and you run with it and you become the people that really take care of it. So, whether it be, you're trying to disrupt an industry, I think that again goes back to, and Hank, I'll tell you, if you want to hire an agency or a creative partner that's had 40 years in the industry, you're going to get the same thing that they've been doing for 40 years. There's no disruption. There's no uniqueness. It's just the same regurgitated crap. If you want to hire someone new who goes like, I have never really worked in eggs, they'll learn. And they're going to bring what their expertise is to the table with a different point of view and a different perspective. So I think if you're looking to disrupt, you go that direction. You go, we're going to do things that nobody in my industry does. We're going to do it different. If you want to talk about cage-free chickens, right? You want to put cage-free all over your cartons. Great. Does it mean anything? No. Put a QR code on the carton that shows me the farm and the chickens live in action. That means I can go right there on my phone in the store and see what chickens laid this egg and what condition they're in. That's disruptive. That's different.
With that, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but we talked about emotionality and connecting with millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Peter, Jeff, just how that's evolved over the last 3-4 years.
Oh my.
Well, Jeff's got older kids. I know I've got some Gen. What age is Gen Z?
Isn't like Gen Alpha? What's right now? Is it
Gen Alpha's right now?
Gen Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Gen Z is mid 20s.
Okay. So in some sense, both of them are going to be afflicted by the same thing. It's so funny. My kids are 10 and 13. They take their information in tiny bites.
Fire.
Bang, 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 bang. So it's hard to tell a story in those little bites. But I think with those generations, you have to be a little bit more thoughtful about the way you approach it and say, I've got a bigger story to tell. I can't tell it in 5 to 7 seconds, but I can tell it over the course of 30 seconds, dice it up into small bites and stop selling. Those audience don't want to be sold to. They want to share something. They want to be led down a rabbit hole. So to me, that's the difference than the older groups who, we're probably more used to, we're having a big sale on cars this weekend. We got red, yellow cars, black cars, blue cars, all that shit. And you go, yeah, it's the same stuff. But when somebody comes into that space as a dealership, perhaps, and says, Yeah, we've got a bunch of cars to sell, and yeah, our rates are the same as everybody else's rates, to be honest with you. But we just wanted to share this moment of your time to talk about the importance of seatbelt safety, because your kids are in the car and it's the most important thing in the world. If you want to know more about our cars, visit the website. For now, that's all I wanted to get out there for you. That to me goes, you took advantage of the time I made available to you. You shared something beneficial to me. You actually showed me that we share a valued belief together, and you didn't try to sell me anything. And now when I go to buy a car, because most people aren't in the market for a car all at the same time, you know, you hear those ads, you're not in the market for a car for 2 more years. What do you remember? I remember the ad that says, you know, your kids are in the car, drive safely, drive appropriately, and make sure those seatbelts are on right. That's it. I remember that. So for some generations, the message is going to be different. For these younger generations, I think you've got to be more creative in the storytelling as far as being able to slow drip it out in small pieces so that they can string it all together on their own.
Yeah.
Are your clients coming to you and saying, this is my target audience, and helping direct you to target a certain generation? What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question.
It's interesting because we talk about this all the time, and they do approach us that way. And then we tend to like to push back just slightly and say, well, let's talk about that, and let's see if that is the actual audience that we should be targeting. Let's look at the reasons why you're thinking that. And I think a lot of things are like that. That's one of the reasons why we're not a big fan of the RFP or RFQ, whatever they call them, because they've already made a predetermined judgment of what they need. They don't even we approach it like we're not even sure yet. We haven't really heard the whole story here to make those decisions. They're like, we need a website and it has to have this, and this, and we're already thinking, well, what are we here for?
Yeah. But I also think that a pre-qualifier, and when you were asking us about our process, is asking, you know, so who do you think your audience is? And the key word there is think. Who do you think your audience is?
Yes.
Because the next question is going to be, great. Okay. Do you have like a document or some kind of data that shows us that? Not trying to expose anyone for anything, but like we can skip this step and save you a few bucks and work with the data that you have. But if you tell me you don't actually have it, that goes back to that question about, so you think it's this audience, or you hope it's this audience. So to me, I go, you got to do some due diligence. And for both agency, creative partner, and client, you got to be willing to accept the fact that perhaps we do a little bit of a deeper dive from outside your bubble, just to see if there's other audience options that you're missing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the target market or target audience, because I would assume most brands come to you with a pretty good assumption of who their target audience is, and you guys can either trust them or ask for some more data to verify and see if that trust actually should be warranted. Because at the end of the day, if you start going down the rabbit hole, and this whole marketing thing that you guys are creating fails because it's the wrong audience, then you just wasted a lot of cash, I would guess, at that point. And I'm sure that's happened probably several times, and you guys can fix that. But yeah, it's probably a tough one.
It's interesting. I mean, you think about, I was doing a program for one of the utility services in the Northeast, Eversource, and they needed to spend a bunch of money. It was like money they had to get off the books. So they weren't trying to sell anything to anybody, right?
My favorite kind of money.
Yeah, they didn't need to sell you anything. They've got a monopoly. They've got the power thing locked down in the Northeast, so they weren't selling you shit. But what they did that was smart is we built them a in-school program that was about energy conservation and sustainability. And that was presented as a curriculum-styled event in the school. 90 minutes of fun, games, trivia, action, prizes, music, dancing. But the core of it was curriculum based, so that everybody that participated in the school They had fun. They won something. They learned something without even realizing they were learning. But here's the kicker. Every kid in that assembly went home with a bag that said Eversource on the side that had some Eversource marketing content material in it. And they went, what's this? Oh, there's a lollipop and a thing. And here, Mom, Dad, you get this stack of paper. And, I was like, guys, this is the way to do it for you, because you can market to an audience that's not your audience yet.
But they will be.
They will be your audience in 10, 15, 20 years. They will be your audience. And they will remember this day that they had that was fantastic fun and there was music. It was unlike any other day in school. Who's responsible for that? Eversource.
Right. You know, one of my favorite things, the local grocery store here, I talk about them all the time. Shout out to Lowe's Foods in North Carolina. They have the little shopping carts for the kids, and they have a little flag in there. They have a little flag in there, and I think it says "Future Shopper" or something like that. So that, it ties in exactly with what you just said.
Absolutely. Even Trader Joe's does that with the hidden lobster or the hidden whale. My kids used to love going there just for that.
Right.
Yeah, I would just go back to what Gavin, your question about like Gen Z. I think it's not only it has to be short, right? Because the attention span thing, that we're all part of that, right? Well, lack of attention, but it's also this experiential thing. So what is it that you can do so that there's an experience, right, that they're going to remember? And it's funny. I think back, if I was going to think of like a first time I saw this in front of me, it was way back. I'm dating myself, but there was car dealers that it started to get popular. When someone bought a car, they would film a little video of them handing the keys, and it would go on their YouTube channel. And people were so excited because they almost wanted to buy the car there just to have that experience so that they could show it to their friends and family that they had this video done of getting the keys to the car for the first time.
Interesting. Every audience wants to feel heard or seen. Okay. I think that doesn't matter. It's any audience, any age. They want to be seen. They want to know that the brand that they're engaged with sees them. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree with that. I even think about it on this podcast. It's like if we didn't engage with the audience, like if they're just sitting here asking questions and we're not plopping these questions up during the show, then they're gonna be like, what the hell am I watching for? You know? But again, that's us engaging with them. And then if they get their name pulled up on the podcast, it's like there's gonna be a sense of satisfaction or euphoria associated with that.
That's right.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. I knew this hour was going to fly. I knew this hour was going to fly by. We could keep.
Feels like we've only been talking 10 minutes. Wade.
Yeah, I know. And
we didn't even get to the beets and the mayonnaise yet.
We'll save that for the next episode.
We could. I mean, it's a quick story. We got 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I have to shout out Hugh. Hugh here reminded me to also do the at certain hours at Lowe's where they bring hot chicken out and they got a guy in a chicken hat and suit and comes out and they play
that's awesome.
the chicken dance over the speakers. It's great. So I don't know, Gavin, anything else we need to touch on?
No, man, because I think if we talk about anything else, it'll be 4:20 by the time that
easy.
conversation's done.
Hey, you know what happens at 4:20?
This is PG-13 here, guys. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. I knew we were going to have a lot of fun. It's overdue to have you guys here. And again, I want to plug.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can find this link here. Here we go. Brandartica, all one word. Brand Artica.agency. And then if they wanted to reach you, obviously you guys, you're here. We've tagged you on LinkedIn, but best way to contact you is via the website. What's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
I would just say drop on over to the house,
Okay. Well, if you want to share your address now.
Swing on by.
Appetizers, cocktails.
You'll have mustard potato salad.
I was going to say you have to bring potato salad. That's the only.
Tell you what, we'll
Duke's mayo.
You can find us on LinkedIn, of course, and then there's the usual other platforms that are grossly unattended and just have fallen by the wayside. But that's, LinkedIn's where the game's at.
That's right.
So, yeah. Jeff, anything else for you?
No, this is great. This is like, I think I had mentioned it in the comments. Like I've attended these shows for so long now. trying to beat out Hugh with his fast typing to get the prize. But
Me too. Don't
it's
forget
such a
me.
great, it's so great to me to be able to be on here. It's
Yeah, I
awesome.
think we should actually make some type of recurring thing. This has been a great show. We
I
obviously
think it should be called, maybe it's another it's When Worlds Collide. I think that's it's we
I
got
like
this
that.
side and that side, and trademark that, by the way. I'm fine after the
It
show.
actually might be a rock song from like
Well,
the late
we're gonna
90s.
have to have you guys
It
on
is.
our thing.
I like
for sure.
it. I like
Yeah,
it.
we'll have you
I like
guys
it.
on our thing.
Well,
They'll-
speaking of your thing, one more time, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
are you uploading that? I don't know. I always go back and watch it on LinkedIn because I can't always join live.
Yeah.
I try to, but it's complicated.
Guys,
but
it's 1:30 on a Thursday.
I know.
It's
I got
Is it like a
Zoom.
bad
No.
time? We've been
No, if it's not
Sales,
like
yeah.
late, yeah, exactly. But are you uploading it to Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, we are.
and Spotify? Okay, so
Apple and Spotify, and
And
it's on YouTube too.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Don't fuck it up. And I was there. It was 1:30 Mountain Time. We weren't there.
We weren't there then.
Anyways, I thank you guys for having
I
us.
know.
I'm a big fan of the show. Love what you guys have been doing. Thrilled to be on it. And
For
your
the Gen
audience.
Zers out there, what is your guys' TikToks? We got to get the TikToks out there.
We got a Brandartica TikTok.
Okay, cool.
I don't think it's probably with
one of the unattended ones.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably got some
No,
real
I'm
focus.
not gifting the guitar. No,
No,
that just so you know, that is an original 1987 Steinberger, New York made. It's an M series Steinberger. It's very it's kind of a rare piece.
And you just have it all helter.
I just have it just sitting there
on the slippery desk, like
yeah.
The question for Jeff's awesome guitar that probably costs a lot of money for those that are still listening is Derek Gould's company. What is it called? And go.
Ooh.
Let's see how many people are still tuned in here.
Yeah. Well, but while we're waiting, they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. Gavin and I are taking next week off because it's Halloween. And I'm going, Gavin's got the twins, and he's going to be doing Halloween stuff. And I'm going to be on the road myself. So it's we'll make you miss us for a week. We'll be back on the 7th, I think, or 6th, whatever the date is.
7th, I think. Yeah.
Fridays. Yeah, whatever it is. We'll be back, but we won't be here next week. So tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Play this one back next week, and we'll talk to you the following week. So
thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it so
guys?
much.
Thank you.
thank you
All right,
guys.
guys.
Have a great
Appreciate
day.
you guys.
Have a great
Have a
weekend.
great weekend.
Better.
Bye, guys.
Bye.